Hi, and thank you for tuning into this video. You may have noticed the long gap since my last upload, which was all about the jewelry store that I started on Etsy. And in this time, I've been making a lot of new designs, restocking some of my sold out gems like Moldavite and Herkimer quartz, which you can find new pieces of in my shop after the last batch totally sold out. But in this time of reflection, I've been contemplating what really is the message I want to present to the world on this channel. Over the years, if you've been one of my longtime subscribers or if you've seen my past videos, you have seen the discussions run the gamut from education and the problems, or what I could say maybe problem is too strong of a word, but the indiscrepancies between what we really want to live for as the goal of life and what gets kind of pushed through mainstream media and education and, the structures in society around us. You've seen me take a lot of huge leaps and bounds into different organizations, different belief systems, different parts of the world. I've theorized about all kinds of possible conspiracies, and then I've come back to you talking all the time about art and jewelry. So some of you guys might be a little confused, like, okay, what's with all the swings back and forth, and what really are you? And really, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately too. When I first started this YouTube channel, the main message I wanted to present was living holistically despite a lot of the things that can present setbacks in our lives. I'd been studying a bit about, of course, veganism because I've been a very proud vegan since the age of 13. I'd studied a lot about the way the animal agriculture industry is polluting the environment with all kinds of harsh emissions into the atmosphere, the way it's creating more deforestation in the rainforest than any other industry or all other industries combined. I studied up on all kinds of things from like vegan nutrition to the toxic effects of fluoride on the brain and also the skeleton and even the teeth, ironically as that might be. And I started this channel sharing videos about how we can just simply make decisions for ourselves that take us away from those kinds of poisons, like getting a proper fluoride filter for your water, like choosing to eat whole foods, vegan, balancing your grains with your proteins so that you make sure that you get the proper nutrition. That was always my core goal, was to share the fact that you don't have to cut down on your quality of life in order to do things the healthiest possible way and the way that's best for the environment and for the animals and for yourself. The reason I've swung so much into the direction of sharing mostly jewelry and art is that, quite frankly, that's my business. That's what I do for a living. A lot of people use social media as a platform to showcase their entire lives with the world. Those vloggers who take you on family trips, who show you, where they live, what they eat in a day, what they do in a day. They give apartment tours. I think that's really cool. Maybe I'll get into that sometime soon too. But in the meantime, a lot of people have asked me over the years, how do I pay my bills? How do I afford all the travel I used to do? How can I, keep this channel running without a quote unquote day job? And really, this is the answer. It's by using my creativity in a way that I enjoy and sharing the gems that I personally like to wear with everyone else out there. Now, in my most recent crystal video, I mentioned what psychosomatic effects are, what it means when you create something for yourself because you believe in it. I saw a really cool Netflix documentary recently about the pharmaceutical industry. And in it, one of the doctors hired by those corporations to put their drugs into testing revealed something that literally blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. We've all heard of the placebo effect, right? When you take a sugar pill, you think it's a medication, and suddenly the effects of that medication actually start happening in your body, even though you haven't consumed any substance whatsoever except for something benign that has no actual effect. Well, the placebo effect is what doctors are calling mind over matter, when your belief in reality creates the actual experience of reality. And that doesn't just mean that you feel better, you feel healthy, you get that like, la la, I've been treated feeling. No, it actually means the disease disappears. when somebody gets that placebo effect, they experience the same health, sometimes in a 50-50 ratio, sometimes in a 60-40 ratio, sometimes even in a 70-30 ratio, meaning, and this is what blew my mind, not that 70% of the people who take the medicine and 30% of the people who take the placebo experience healing, but the other way around. This expert said that sometimes they'll do trials on drugs over and over and over, and the test subjects have the placebo effect, in which those who take the sugar pill have a higher success rate of recovery and health and healing and wellness than those who take the actual medicine. Now, what does this have to do with gemstone and crystal jewelry? You might think that I'm reneging on everything I've ever said before about gemstones, but really, this is something worth looking into. Why is it that when people wear amethyst, the gemstone best known for overcoming addictions and healing negative cycles in life, why is it that those people who wear an amethyst will experience that transformation? Especially those who wear it, having been told that that's what the stone is good for, while those who wear it just because maybe they're born in February and it's their birthstone would see it just as an ordinary piece of jewelry. While it's very, very true that crystals and stones have measurable energy. For example, quartz is piezoelectric. If you rub two of them together in a dark room, you will physically see sparks. You can run a watch on quartz. You can run batteries, clocks, watches on tourmaline. There's all kinds of powerful energy that God put into these gems by placing them on the earth. Of course, they're here for a reason. Of course, we feel something very, very positive whenever we connect with nature in any way. But beyond that, why are some stones known as grounding and other stones are known as elevating, and some stones are known as devices with which you can communicate with angels and extraterrestrials? Is it real or is it placebo effect? That's the question I'm asking you in this video. I want to see a debate in the comment section below. I myself am still on the fence, and this might be a surprise to you because in past videos, I've always held such strong convictions that my belief was the right, true, real answer for whatever I've spoken about. And I hear you guys, that was a little conceited, that was a little arrogant. I'm backing down a bit now, and now I'm approaching life more as a questioner, more as someone here to discover what reality is. I don't have all the answers, neither do you for the record, but I would love to hear where you stand on this, what you believe. What do you think happens when you use certain gemstones, certain crystals? Have you ever worked with them? Have you ever experimented with them? I can say the number one argument in favor that stones are genuinely physically energetic and that it affects people, whether they know it or not, would be all the anecdotal evidence we have of those who started wearing crystals without knowing that they have quote-unquote spiritual energy, who have reported experiencing something different. One of my favorite stories comes from a crystal store in Vancouver. I forget the name of this store. I'll look it up and put it in the description below. But it's a really high-end crystal store. It's kind of like an art gallery of the highest end gemstones you've ever seen, or at least that I've ever seen. For example, they had a tabletop made of a pure polished labradorite slab. They had amethyst crystal caves that you could walk into. They were so huge. They had, pieces of gemstones carved very, very intricately from all over the world. And the average price of an item in that shop ranged at about $10,000, maybe $15,000. So I've never actually bought anything from there, but I used to go in and just fantasize, if I had my dream condo, how would I decorate it? Anyhow, the staff there were so friendly. They used to love chatting about crystals, and they told me the story of how the store got opened. And it turned out that years and years and years ago, before such a thing as social media and YouTube, before we had beautiful books available like Love is in the Earth or the Book of Stones, the lady who started that store had bought herself a pendant of a quartz crystal that was double terminated. Double terminated means it has a point on each end of the crystal I'm just looking to see if I've got any pieces like that handy, which I don't, but I think you guys get the idea. It's like a quartz that has a point on both ends. So she bought it because she thought it was pretty. She put it in her pocket, and that day she felt more energetic than usual. And then she started to notice that whenever she had that quartz crystal in her pocket, she felt more energetic than usual. So she went back to the place where she bought it and she said, this might sound crazy, but do crystals make people feel more energetic? And the lady who owned that store had happened to study with some Native American teachers who knew about earth medicines, what kind of herbs create different kinds of healings. It's the same story all over the world, right? People use what they have available to them. So stones, herbal remedies, different kinds of muds and clays for cleansing the skin. And they said, yes, in fact, when a quartz crystal has one point, it takes that piezoelectric energy, or that energy inherent within it, and puts it forward in that direction. So if it's pointing up, it'll make you feel up. If it's pointing down, it'll make you feel grounded. When it's pointed in both directions, it makes you feel grounded, rooted, practical, able to live your life, and also elevated and filled with energy. She thought that that was just so cool that she started to experiment by getting crystals like this for her friends and for her family, and they also reported that same feeling. When we hear a story like this one about somebody who didn't know the stone had any kind of effect on the person wearing it, experiencing some kind of an effect, it's very hard to ignore. It's different than if you say, okay, somebody went into a mystical new age store and the lady behind the counter said, wear this and you'll feel that, and then they felt that. That could be the power of suggestion, that could be placebo effect. But I've heard so many cases in which people felt drawn towards a certain gemstone, or they were given exactly the stone with the properties that were relevant to the situation they were going in at that time in their life, and it was helpful for them, myself included. However, I'm not the best test subject, because the very first time I started wearing crystals for energetic purposes, I had been told that that's what they're for. So were these experiences genuinely just from the stone, or were they a co-creation between my belief and what that talismanic amulet happened to be? I would love to hear your crystal stories, like I said, in the comments below. What do you think these things are? Do you think they are like conduits that create very cool, mystical, spiritual healing effects for us? Do you think that they can be portals? Do you think that they connect us with other realms, other beings? Do you think that they are just beautiful objects to look at and they're collectible because they're rare? Do you think they are something that creates that placebo effect? Let's get the conversation going. I look forward to hearing from you. We'll share more in upcoming videos. And just so you know, the upcoming videos I'm planning include how to care for gold-plated brass jewelry. This is one of my most frequently asked questions from my Etsy customers, because a lot of the jewelry that I sell is made with gold-plated brass. Why is that? It's because when gold-plated silver or gold-plated metals that are more white in color start to wear away, the color beneath that gold plate starts to show and they look more tarnished more quickly. Brass is more similar to gold than other base metals are, so it keeps the jewelry affordable without losing that gilt quality. But a lot of people, especially if you live in a hot, humid climate, you'll notice that that gold plating is wearing away a little bit more quickly and your jewelry starts to look dull. How to prevent that is very, very simple. You just paint it with some cruelty-free, animal-friendly, natural, clear, vegan nail polish. That layer of nail polish seals in that metal and also prevents it from rubbing on your skin, causing any kind of green discoloration if you're allergic to that metal. It's a cool hack. You can also use clear glue for that. The stronger the glue, the longer you have to let it dry, and the more permanent the result will be. So I'll demonstrate how to actually do that in an upcoming video. And I also plan to share with you some videos about how to make the jewelry pieces I make. In this video today, for example, I'm wearing one of my new favorite pairs of earrings. It uses lemon tourmaline, which is a stone of the will, which means achieving your goals, sticking to your principles, following through with the decisions you make for yourself, and achieving success. I'm also wearing a lemon tourmaline choker. Sorry, not lemon tourmaline, lemon topaz choker. It's one of my all-time favorite pieces just because the shine in these stones, I don't know if it's showing on film, but in person, they're just so beautifully radiant with that crystal energy. And I've paired it with another new piece from the store, which is this prehnite and tanzanite choker collar. I don't know about you guys, I like chunky jewelry sometimes. I mean, I binge watched the show Grace and Frankie on Netflix just to see what jewelry Frankie was wearing because it is darn gorgeous. So yeah, I like stacking some chunky pieces, but if you're into these particular stones, whether it's tanzanite or prehnite or lemon topaz, don't worry, I've got some smaller, sleeker, more subtle pieces in the store as well. And that includes one of my favorite all-time pendants, which includes prehnite and moldavite. Now, both prehnite and moldavite have been described by crystal healers as stones that help you access your higher self-awareness. Some people say they've been able to communicate with extraterrestrials using these stones. Some people say they've contacted angels. Let's hear what you feel about that in the comments below. But I feel like whenever two stones are known for radiating the same or a similar property, when you combine them together in a harmonious design, it doubles that effect. So it's pretty cool and they look beautiful on. Anyhow, if you've watched this video the whole way through, I'm going to share the exciting news that I share in every video, which is this. If you buy any item in my shop, and mention that you've seen this video, I will send not one, but 2 free gifts with purchase. And one of those 2 this time is going to be a prehnite pendant. Not the chunky prehnite with moldavite, I'll send a small little prehnite pendant so you can experience the feeling of that stone. I've had some of the coolest dreams of my life after putting it under my pillow, so I'm curious to hear what it does for you. Let me know in the comments below if you've already experienced it, and in the meantime, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.